I am 97 years old. I am a cardiologist. 55 years in medicine. I watched a woman die on a surgical table 3 weeks ago. An 84-year-old woman who should never have been opened up in the first place. Her surgeon told her the procedure was routine. It was not routine. She bled out in recovery. Her name was Margaret. I knew Margaret for 12 years. She walked into my office every February for her checkup. Same floral dress, same questions about her grandchildren. She trusted her surgeon. He killed her, not with malice, with recommendation. I have been in hospitals long enough to know that some surgeries save lives, and some surgeries are what we do when we cannot admit there is nothing left to do. The difference is not always explained to patients, and the patients who die do not get to file complaints. I am going to tell you about 5 surgeries that kill elderly patients more often than they should. Not because the surgery itself is dangerous, because the patient should never have been a candidate in the first place. But I am not going to tell you which one killed Margaret. Not yet. First, I need you to understand something. Drop your age in the comments. I want to know how many of you are in the danger zone. The first surgery is aortic valve replacement in patients over 85. The valve controls blood flow from the heart to the rest of the body. When it fails, surgeons replace it. Sometimes that works. Sometimes the patient dies within 6 months anyway. Not from the valve, but from the trauma of being opened up at an age when the body cannot recover. I have signed death certificates for patients who survived the surgery but did not survive the aftermath. Pneumonia, kidney failure, sepsis. The surgery was a success. The patient died. That is what we say in medicine when we do not want to admit we made the wrong call. I knew a man named Richard, 87 years old, who was told his aortic valve was failing and he needed surgery or he would die within a year. He had the surgery. He died 4 months later in a nursing home, unable to walk, unable to recognize his daughter. The valve worked fine. His body gave up. If you are over 85 and a surgeon recommends aortic valve replacement, ask them this: what is my life expectancy without surgery? What is my life expectancy with surgery and complications? What is the percentage chance I leave the hospital worse than I came in? If they cannot answer those 3 questions with numbers, walk out. The second surgery is spinal fusion for lower back pain in patients over 75. Your spine degenerates as you age. That is not a disease. That is called being old. Surgeons will tell you they can fuse the vertebrae, reduce your pain, improve your mobility. What they will not tell you is that spinal fusion in elderly patients has a 40% chance of making the pain worse. I have seen patients who went in walking with a cane and came out in a wheelchair permanently. A woman named Evelyn, 79 years old, had spinal fusion because her surgeon said it would let her garden again. She never gardened again. She never walked independently again. She spent her last 3 years bedridden, managing infections at the surgical site. The surgery was technically successful. Her life was destroyed. If a surgeon recommends spinal fusion for back pain, ask them this: what non-surgical options have I tried for at least 6 months? What is the statistical outcome for patients my age? What percentage of your patients over 75 regain mobility after this surgery? If they say the surgery is your only option, they are lying. The third surgery is aggressive cancer surgery in patients with limited life expectancy. I am not talking about a small tumor removal. I am talking about pancreatic resections, liver resections, lung removals in patients who are already 82 years old with congestive heart failure. The cancer might kill you in 2 years. The surgery might kill you in 2 weeks. I knew a man named Vincent, 86 years old, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. His oncologist gave him 18 months without surgery. His surgeon said he could remove the tumor, maybe buy him 3 years. Vincent had the surgery. He died 11 days later, never left the ICU. He spent his final days sedated on a ventilator while his family stood outside the glass. He did not get 3 years. He did not even get the 18 months. He got 11 days of suffering because a surgeon wanted to operate. If you are over 80 and you are diagnosed with cancer, ask this: what is my life expectancy if I do nothing? What is my life expectancy if the surgery goes perfectly? What is my quality of life in both scenarios? Some cancers are slow. Some bodies are tired. Sometimes the right answer is to go home. The fourth surgery is emergency gallbladder removal in frail elderly patients. Gallstones are common in people over 70. Most of the time, they cause discomfort, not danger. But when a patient shows up in the emergency room with gallbladder pain, surgeons operate fast, because that is what surgeons do. I have watched patients in their late 80s, barely able to stand, rushed into emergency gallbladder surgery, and never wake up from anesthesia. A man named Howard, 91 years old, went to the ER with abdominal pain. They removed his gallbladder that night. He coded on the table. They revived him. He spent 6 weeks on life support, and then his family took him off. The gallbladder was inflamed, not ruptured, not infected. He could have been managed with antibiotics and observation. Instead, he died in an ICU because a surgeon decided speed was more important than assessment. If you are over 85 and you go to the ER with gallbladder pain, ask for a non-surgical consult first. Ask for antibiotics and observation. Ask what happens if we wait 24 hours. Emergency surgery is sometimes necessary, but sometimes it is just convenient. The fifth surgery is the one that killed Margaret: hip replacement. Margaret was 84. She had arthritis. She walked slowly, but she walked. Her orthopedic surgeon told her a hip replacement would give her 10 more active years. She had the surgery. She developed a blood clot. The clot traveled to her lungs. She died 6 days post-op. I have seen this outcome more times than I can count. Hip replacement is marketed as a quality-of-life surgery. But for patients over 80, it is a gamble. Blood clots, infections, anesthesia complications, falls during recovery. The surgery works, the body fails. Margaret wanted 10 more years. She got 6 days. If you are over 80 and a surgeon recommends hip replacement, ask them this: what is my risk of death or major complication within 90 days? What non-surgical pain management have I tried? Can I live with this pain, or will this pain kill me? Because here's what I know after 55 years. Pain will not kill you. Surgery might. I want to talk to you. The person reading this who just dropped their age in the comments. If you are over 75 and a surgeon is recommending any major surgery, you need to ask one question they will not want to answer. Am I a good candidate, or am I just a candidate? There is a difference. A good candidate has a high chance of benefit and low chance of harm. A candidate is someone with insurance. I have watched surgeons operate on patients who should have been sent home to live their last year in peace. I have watched families sign consent forms because they believed doing something was better than doing nothing. Sometimes, doing nothing is the bravest choice you can make. Margaret's family asked me after she died, "Did we make the right choice?" I told them the truth. No, but I told them too late. I am not going to be polite about it anymore. If you are over 80 and you are facing surgery, bring someone with you who will ask the hard questions. Bring someone who will say no, because the surgeon will not say it, and you might not survive long enough to regret it.